Yeah, so as I mentioned at the beginning, we've got Panis Pieri. Panis, I know him for many years. He's been active in entrepreneurship and startups ecosystem. He's been everywhere. He experienced and seen everything, let's say, in our market, and he's very knowledgeable in the field of entrepreneurship, marketing, and generally anything innovative and disruptive. So he is the founder of Detox Entertainment. He's also the chief editor at TechCyprus, and he hosts live events at his own show called Panis Talk Show. He does a lot of
Live with
advising.
Panis talk show, but it's sorry for interrupting.
No, it's a
But that show it's mostly on Greek, uh, and we feature different stuff, not only technology.
That's great. Is a generally talk show in Greek, and also he's advising and co-organizing and at a lot of places like Robotics Cyprus, Startup Europe Week, Junior Achievement Cyprus, and many more organizations. So, Panis, the stage is yours. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, Hassan, thanks for inviting me from the invitation. Thanks for having me to Startup Grind. I was hoping this to be a physical event, but unfortunately, with the current situation. By the way, as you know, I'm not. Usually, I'm the one doing the questions. So usually, I'm not. Well, okay, let's. I have said this time. Let's do it because we have also different stuff to analyze. But of course, if anybody's watching or anybody's based in Zoom, you can leave your questions in the chat. Then we'll monitor and have a cool discussion in the next hour, I believe. Okay. Sorry, I'm a bit, it gets with the moderator in because as
You
a
always in
journal,
my place usually.
yeah, as a journalist, the last years, okay, I moderated a lot of stuff. I have made more than 300 interviews. For example, 2 years ago, I was invited by the ICT Commission, the biggest event and one of the tech influencers in Cyprus and in Europe, to go and do some interviews from there.
Mm-hmm.
And other stuff because I used to have disruptcyprus.com. That was the first blog about startups innovation in Cyprus. For people that they don't know, I have sold it last year um, to some other. I have sold it actually to my angel investor,
Mm-hmm.
and we're trying to think about some new stuff that we might be launching there also in the future, but I will not be my own. I will be most probably hosting or thinking to do a podcast. We'll see
Mm-hmm.
with Disrupt Cyprus. But we are launching, as you have seen also in the background, TechCyprus. I mean, yeah, after 5 years, in general, I have 20 years in media, journalism. I always, either if I was working for a lot of years in the forex industry in Cyprus, in the fintech sector, as head of marketing, head of digital, and other positions. Always I had something on my own on the side. If I had, for example, a company, always I had also a project or a new company on the side. The last years almost I am focusing, building my own independent and media houses. I have exited from the first one. Now we're building TechCyprus because we believe that this is the right time to bring under all the news of all this industry. Two new associations are coming up. We have also associations like the Cyprus Computer Society, a new association now, Tech Island is rising. That would be a lot of companies will be under the association. A new association in the CIBA, Cyprus Tech Association, is rising. Cyprus is becoming a hot spot for tech. And we believe that it is the right time to build a dedicated news portal. So this will be TechCyprus that will be monitoring, writing news, doing interviews and other stuff. My experience, okay, I have interviewed, as a journalist, I have interviewed a lot of startup founders from Cyprus and abroad, innovators, disruptors, etc. Usually when I start a project, I try to be a bit unique. Always, I'm a high risk. I take high risk. I try to be. Uh, I try to take risk a lot. Okay. I'm not a millionaire, by the way. A lot of people they think I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I like to connect people, network, connect the dots. That's why I connected also a lot of startups with investors, or we did events. Uh, Back in the days, 5, 6 years ago, when we started Disruptive Cyprus, we were the first with the Cyprus University of Technology. We brought Facebook, for example, for a talk. It's very difficult to bring Facebook, for example, for a physical talk in Cyprus. Um,
Panis,
yeah.
we're gonna go through your background. I've got questions that because I've done my research on
Okay,
your
I will
background, so
stop
we're gonna go
here.
through it one
Sorry.
by one. Yeah. Okay. So,
Sorry. Yeah,
uh,
it just caught me. When you see that, just interrupt me and
yeah,
don't
yeah.
worry about.
We've got so basically today we're going to go through your background, your personal and professional experience. Also, we're going to talk about disruptive mindset, which is the title of this event, and we're going to relate it back to Cyprus a little bit because that's where our location is, and we're going to talk about the industries here. So, the first question I always ask my guest, and you might know it because you've been to my event many times, is what is your first entrepreneurship experiences in life, no matter how young in life you were or how small the entrepreneurship, let's say, activity was. What was it?
Thank you for this question. It's the first time that I will actually answer this question. And okay, because I come good or bad, I come from an entrepreneurial family. My grandfather had the first one of the first bookshops in Famagusta, in an occupied area. When the occupation happened many years ago, they came back to Limassol, Skirago bookshops. I was working there from a young child, from 13 years old, even earlier. And I remember myself, okay, the first actually job that I wanted to do is to become an accountant back in the days. So I was going with my father because my father was working in the family, and I was always wanted to, I was taking pads and I was invoicing fake invoices. I was trying to go and sell, and to prove to my father that I'm able at 12, 13 to, to get the invoice, the official invoice done for a company. So that was one of the first things that I decided also back then that I would like to be on business, etc. But at the same time, I was loving also technology. So yeah, I would say my first interaction with entrepreneurial stuff, it was that. And yeah, and yeah, in the past, okay, I did a lot of in when I was young also, the the lemonade stand, selling stuff, from house to houses, etc. One of my first jobs also was I was a waiter in some of my uncle's bar in Ayanaba, etc. I have learned through that. It's a very good experience, and I recommend it to everybody to do it because I have learned some social skills
Yeah, direct to customer
by
selling.
customer service and things like this. And that's why, okay, when I immediately came back from my studies. That's why my uncle, I was working in the family business, and my uncle actually put me in charge of the two souvenir shops that we had back on the days. I mean, from day one. Um, yeah, I mean that was myself. I can say that would be my entrepreneurial because I was working part time during summers, etc. Um,
From what I have, from the research I've done, from since 2007, you've been into digital marketing industry. And so basically, how did you choose this field, and what kept you for so many years in there?
Yeah, uh, in I wanted to always I wanted to be doing something with business and technology. That's why when I studied business economics in first, also in the high school. Then I went to the university again, business economics and management, especially management, optimizing stuff. And my master was on BIT, Business Information Technology. So when I came back, okay, I stayed for a few years in the family business, and after that, I said, okay, I love digital marketing. I love optimizing stuff. And when I say optimizing, making things better by either watching data, either by your instincts, or however you can make things better. So I love that on digital marketing. That was it was a an industry and a field that is always changing. It's always you can grow on this field. Always you can. So the last 2 years I passed. I did I did from web development for digital marketing up to a bit of design basic stuff. By the way, I'm not a designer or a web dev. But I have worked as an SEO expert, SEM in Google, PPC. I have been doing, but always my passion was driven on journalism, and always I started while I was working with digital marketing. I was also, especially after one 6 months project that we did, and we built the second sports journalist portal in Cyprus, 24 Sports. That was the first employee there, and I pushed the founders also to start this because it was the second actually new sports portal in Cyprus back on the days. Um, until 3-4 years ago, it was sold in the big media industry, in the big media in Cyprus. Yeah, my first was because I'm passionate about football. If you follow me in Facebook and etc., you would see my team. I'm with Nea Salamina Famagusta, so a lot of my hours also is helping the club with different other elements pro bono. So I used to also have the newspaper of the club, the one also website and other stuff. So I was involved in sport journalism. And a few years ago, I say, because I was like reading about technology, startups, etc. Also, the scene was starting in Cyprus. I said, let's open a blog. From let's
That
open a
was,
blog.
I guess that was in 2015. You started
Yeah,
Disruptive.
it was 2015
Yeah. You
with.
went full force on it, didn't you?
Yeah, actually, the goal it was because I was monitoring the industry from the first startup live and some steps on the back when Orchard is also open at your service and some other Proto.io started with NetQuest. For example, Proto.io, it was a software company and then they started. Then they pivot to a software and the company that they have right now after so many years. And yeah, I was monitoring this stuff and I said, okay, it was a good time. It was the whole scene was starting. And I said, okay, let's start this and see how it goes. And it went a bit viral in the beginning with the interviews, the photos. I attended a lot of events, covered a lot of events. It went viral. In 2 months' time, I found an angel investor. So I said, okay, let's make it a business, independent media company, and the rest from there is history, especially for people that they know or they were following the last years.
So what are
Disrupt Cyprus.
you so what are you involved right now? Because we're gonna get to it a bit later, that you exited from Disrupt Cyprus. So what are you involved? Where are you heading right now?
My next goal is TechCyprus. It's to be, it's an independent media with another partner. The goal is for me, the next year is to write the news of the tech scene and the technology scene in Cyprus. I love journalists, so that's the goal. And via TechCyprus also we're doing also tech events for companies, for clients. That's the monetization model, some advertising, some etc. But we believe that it's time also all together to. I believe Cyprus needs to have a tech and a news portal that will be focusing only on technology, with news about technology in a lot of fields technology. I mean, the goal is to, for example, a company can come, then we can write an article about them. I'm saying right now, I mean, following the tech news of a company, not, you understand, would be covering also the news of all the technology companies. And when I say technology, I mean also all companies like Oracle in Cyprus, and big companies, and also, but we're going to feature also startups, mostly tech startups, that they have a technology aspect. But okay, as you know, most startups basically are tech enabled nowadays. So also we'll be covering almost companies that they are doing something in technology. Maybe they have done something, they have added a new system in their company and they want to write in a technology, they want to get this audience out there. And also, cover also the government, what it's doing, and help things, as a journalist, to help make things. Hopefully, some of our articles will help to make things better. And on that note, okay, just a small, let's say,
projects here, there.
Yeah, no, maybe a bit of shameless advertising. Next Thursday, we're actually officially launching. We'll be soft launching maybe tomorrow, this weekend, just to test things in TechCyprus. And next Thursday, we'll have the Deputy Minister of Cyprus of Research and Innovation in Digital Policy and the Chief Scientist in an event, and an Ask Me Anything session, actually. They will present some stuff. We'll be announcing more in the next days. So we will let you know. We'll, for sure, of course, all of you that you are watching or you're here in Zoom, the event will be free, will not be broadcasted, at least live stream. So you will be need to register and join the event, but you'll be able to ask any questions and to the two big, let's say, government. And hopefully we want to make this event as happening every year. So we know what the government is doing, where it's planning, the government what is planning. So it would be like like an event every year. And the goal is to do also some other events down the line. Tech events.
Before I continue with the next question, I want to, since that you said about comments, I want to say to everybody, if you have any questions, any comments or anything, just write it in the chat. If the time is appropriate, I can ask it right away during the interview. And if not, then I will keep it and definitely ask it at the end of the event, which we have a Q&A. So Mehkar, I saw your question. I will ask it when it's related. So back into July 2020, you exited, you sold DisruptCyprus.com, and that was like somewhere in the middle of pandemic, not pandemic. And how did you manage that? How did you exit from that company? First of all, why did you do that? And then how did you exit?
Okay, the thing here, okay, we wanted to be Disruptive Cyprus. I considered it was a successful project. We had more than 20,000 organic social media followers in all the last 4 or 5 years in all social media. I mean, I think we just made like 600, 700 euro of advertising and different stuff. I mean, not gaining. So we had around 20,000 people. We had 20,000 people from all around the world, reading about Cyprus, about startups. For example, I went to Skopje and the executive director of the IT Chamber of Commerce. They have a dedicated IT Chamber of Commerce. She was a lady, and I approached her to interview her. It was a workshop that I went. She said, you are Disrupt Cyprus. I mean, I'm watching some of the news of Cyprus via your Instagram. So it was like, or via your Instagram page. Usually when we attended events like Web Summit, etc., we were trying to own as much as possible the Twitter feed, so people, they will get the brand and they know the brand. But okay, it was not so successful project in terms of monetization, let's say. But we in the last years, I wanted to take Disrupt Cyprus to a more journalistic approach, because in the beginning it was more about promoting Cyprus. It was not so journalistic in terms of it was about promoting the startup scene, things like this. So I wanted to do something on the more journalistic and more news oriented. The other partner then he wanted to keep more promotional and more with a positive, let's say, aspect of promoting Cyprus out there. So I decided to leave the company. Yeah, that was my exit.
I see.
That was my exit. That's why I'm doing also now TechCyprus. But we're actually discussing with Disrupt Cyprus. Maybe we can do it like a good promotional podcast, presenting startups, research labs, innovation, or whatever other stuff.
Fantastic. And as I see through your social media, you're very enthusiastic about the startups that you mentor and help. So can you tell us about a bit about your advising journey? How do you help startups accelerate, and why you get so passionate about it?
Okay. In general, I'm passionate about when I'm going to involve in something. I'm passionate. You know that. Yes. I mean, this is my way to doing stuff. I don't know if it's the right way or the wrong way. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not so good, because it can bring conflicts in the team that you are. I mean, if you're a lot passionate and you want to change stuff, and if you have, I had also 2-3 times, fire because I wanted to change stuff. The owners of the company I was working, or my bosses, let's say, they wanted to take it more slow, more, more, and it didn't actually work with me. Yeah. Remember the question again, because I was a bit
About
lost.
the I ask you how you advising the startups.
Yeah. How
Why are you so passionate?
I have, I have devoted a lot of hours from bono. Actually, this is how also we met. If you remember, when you were running one of your startups with Sorxmedia, and we did a session.
At Founders Institute, we met.
Yeah, and usually I help them, advise them, because I have 20 years in digital marketing also, and strategy and growth, and try to bring new advices there. And if I see also right now, we are also introducing we're introducing some startups to some investors. Some of the startups I might be also, one of the advisors. But that doesn't mean is not by default. If I see some startups that I like and I believe they have potential, I might become like an advisor, helping them on a weekly basis with meetings. But most importantly, my thing that I am helping is my network, because as a journalist, I can open almost any door. So I can, if for example, a company wants a specific mentor or to have a session like 1 hour with someone that is difficult to get,
Mhm.
maybe I will have access, or my network will have access to these people. One of the things that and I think it's difficult, is to get access to the right people.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm bringing in the table, because okay, I'm a journalist. The last 4 or 5 years, I'm like a full-time journalist in C. So in general, 9 out of 10 people or entrepreneurs or big startup founders, they will not say no in an interview. So I will get to know them. I will build a relationship with them. Okay, it's difficult yet. I did an interview Elon Musk, but we're getting there.
Yeah. So before I get to disruptive mindset topic, Mehkar asked a question. First of all, she said that she's also from a background of journalism, and she asked, "How do you think your skills as a journalist have come in handy in your startup journey?" That's what she said. She asked.
One of the skills. Okay, first of all, let's clarify something. I never studied journalism. What journalism I did, it was by on my own and by self reading stuff, asking fellow other journalists that have experience how to do stuff, etc. In terms of my skills, that I have learned how to make research and finding the right information. That is very important as a skill. And I, through journalism, because I was involved so a bit on investigative journalism, either as a ghostwriter, either for some other projects that I was involved. And I write. This is the research part was very important for me. I learned how to research, finding stuff. The networking part again is important. Helped me, open doors. Not afraid to go and talk with people, ask them, and not afraid to ask, difficult questions. Actually, people
You get
when you
uncomfortable
ask
sometimes.
the difficult questions, okay, if it's not, it depends from the issue. If it's But again, the other thing that I like a lot about journalism is ethical journalism. So I try to be, and data journalism actually. So it's good to see if you can become a data journalist with something that it has a lot of future in Cyprus and abroad also.
Mhm.
To take data into journalists with facts and etc. Yeah. The other thing, by the way, we were doing about journalism in Cyprus. It was a podcast with George Pavlidis, and we were doing some different issues about the ethical, because there is a guideline for journalism, an ethical guideline to follow, how they will approach a specific story. And the goal is for that podcast to stay, and maybe we'll launch it in the next 1-2 months, to be I would be interviewing other journalists. So we'll be discussing about their story,
Mhm.
different, all these things. So if you are interested in that, you can follow about journalism in Cyprus.
Yep.
Okay, it will be in Greek though. Again, I will try to see if I can see with subtitles after with the events,
Mhm.
etc.
So
Because the goal is to, yeah.
yeah, as the title of this event says, is about disruptive mindset. So we're going to get into that topic and talk a bit more about it, and then kind of relate it back to Cyprus for the closing. So just one more time, because we talked about this before. Just one more time, can you define what is disruptive mindset?
Okay. Um, I will define first what is disruptive innovation, because this is where it comes also the mindset and etc. First of all, there is different type of innovations. You have disruptive, you have radical innovation, you have also incremental innovation and sustainable innovation. Sustainable innovation is something that you sustain a product, you create some new stuff, but you are enhancing the product with new features, etc. And it's the same a bit with incremental. Now, when you have high technology and new technologies, you go into, new radical technologies, etc. Like, for example, the CRISPR tool. It's a tool that gets your DNA mapping, etc. Or technology like robotics or new stuff in AI, etc. Then you go into the field of disruptive innovation, in a field that you create something, a product or a service that is adding new market, creating a new market, like Airbnb, for example, or Uber or Dropbox, or other disruptive innovation. Yeah. You create a new market, you create something new, and it's a lot more difficult also. So this is where the disruptive mindset comes. Is you're trying to grow always by risking in new stuff. I don't say that again. I will not say you become a millionaire. You might become if you fail fast and you learn from your failures. But in general, never go. Okay, just a parenthesis here. Never go for the money. Always go for solving a problem, and solving a problem as best as you can globally. That's the thing here. When we're discussing about startups, technology, we're discussing about in global organizations, or organization that wants to be eventually global, international. So whatever you do, either you need to try to do it and try to be the best. Even if you are creating a product that is already out there, try to do it as best as you can, and differentiate from your competitors. But yeah, that's for me the disruptive mindset that comes here. It's something that it's the mindset that you always also, it's a bit like growth mindset, but a bit combination. That you always want to test stuff, do them differently, try to create new markets. Your product or project, to try to do things differently. And yeah, in order to do that, always you need to test some stuff. You always need to be testing stuff, optimizing stuff, and that's for me. It's is disruptive mindset, etc.
I see. And let's say you mentioned that there are type of startups that their ideas are disruptive. There's type of startups that their ideas are innovative. So for the ones that they want to, let's say, integrate disruption within their idea and their startups, what should be their professional attitude? What is the baseline of disruption? What is the most important thing to keep in mind when you're targeting that kind of, let's say, move?
Okay, if you are, for example, an established company, if you want to create something new, you need to actually create something that will close your company down the line in the next. You need to, your R&D department or your innovation department needs to create a product that actually will make your old product to go out of business. And just to clarify here, okay, we're hearing startups, and all the startups, they are using the term disruptive, we're disruptive, etc., etc. But in general, not all startups are disruptive. As I have explained, a lot of startups are innovative, and it's not bad, by the way. A lot of investors, they don't like disruptive startups because the risk with disruptive startup is much more high than investing, for example, in an innovative company that is doing sales and will be doing sales in the next 3-5 years. Because a disruptive startup might take him 6, 7, 10 years even to reach in terms of sales and in the return of investment. But if you nailed, let's say, the product like Uber, like the Uber product, the Bolt or Airbnb, if you nailed it, then the return is much, much higher. Okay, the risk is higher. It's high risk, high rewards, they say. Yeah, I mean, I would say that. I mean, yeah, if you have an R&D department as a company or innovation, you need to, if you want to add disruption there, and I will not suggest, by the way, I believe for an R&D department or innovation, they need to, okay, doing R&D and to try to identify totally new products. But I would suggest also to have a department inside the R&D innovation that is focused also in sustainable innovation. So this will keep you going until you probably, maybe your department will create a product that will take out of business your old product. And okay, if you read the stories, there is different stories that you can read. The Netflix story that how it disrupted the Blockbuster, another company. The Kodak story that closed. It didn't manage to follow in the new trends of technology and etc. A good stories to read about R&D and innovation, it's 3M. 3M is creating a lot of new, innovative products, and they're doing a good job in terms of reinventing totally, new product lines, etc. And stay, in the game.
And yeah, we had this discussion before about disruptive mindset and our current educational system, and I really like the answer he gave me, because obviously, in order to be disruptive, you need to first understand what risks are and have a level of management towards risks and endurance, let's say, to handle risk, because with disruptive ideas come a lot of risk, because you need to first survive the opposition that the market has and the competition has, and then you know be alive for the period until you mature up in the market and people find you, and from early adapters, other, let's say, demographics find your products and start using it. So by having this difficulty in mind, we talked about this, and you were telling me before about educational system and how it's not aligned with disruption and disruptive ideas. So what's been missing in our educational system? What's wrong with it? And not only for disruptions, for any all the creative ideas, what's missing?
Yeah, as I've mentioned, I mean, here, okay, I'm not an educator. I'm not really the guy that will, but at least what I have seen, because, okay, my brother is an educator, my mother was an educator, my sister is an educator. And at least in Cyprus, and what I have seen also in some other countries, it's that the school needs to become more creative in general. I don't know if it needs to become more disruptive and create disruptive people, but it needs to become more creative and more innovative in terms of innovation. If we consider that a robotic revolution is happening right now, automation with robotic and AI revolution is happening in the next 20, 25, 30 years. A lot of stuff and a lot of work will become automated. Okay, a lot of procedures will become automated. I mean, there is study that they say that accountants would be no needed. I mean, low-level accountants, for example, you will not need them because everything will be automated. Or low-level paralegals, for example, will not be needed because a lot of things in the law will be happening with AI and things like this. I mean, even traditional work, let's say traditional are at risk. I mean, traditional, um, um, work, and that's why I mean the school needs to become more creative. You need to cultivate the imagination of people. What I was listening, I have watched. There is a good, well, Netflix has great documentaries, and there was this documentary about the AI algorithmic, and what I like because one of the things that MIT is doing in their they have a lesson that they give science fiction books to the students. And they say to them, okay, take this science fiction, see, think, and go and build it. Go build a prototype. So I mean, you need to. This is the way that you need to cultivate. You need to imagine stuff that how things will become, and this is the new school, I believe, role that we'll have in the next 20-25 years. It will not matter, for example, if you memorize something, etc. I mean, we need to cultivate critical thinking and actually go back to the basics, I believe. I mean, when you were a young kid, you wanted to investigate everything, things. I don't know if a lot of schools they are going now with the STEM approach, STEAM, science, technology, etc. That in this basic stuff, in the basic teaching of these disciplines, you have this, you are going to question stuff, doing tests, experiment, things like this. But I believe it's something more. It's not always about doing. Okay, of course, it's good to do mathematics, etc., and science and technology. But I think we need, as a school, we need like a lesson that you combine all these questioning experiment also with, a more also, what do you say? I mean, a more also feel of creativity and a feel of always putting human first instead of putting technology first. That's something else and is a lot of discussion.
Mhm.
And because at the end of the day, technology is like a tool that will help humans have a better life, and this is how we need to see technology. Yeah.
And as you mentioned, the what's missing with the schools is critical thinking and creative thinking. And we've been, as you mentioned before, we've been grading kids and try have competition between them instead of promoting more teamwork and more creative projects. And yeah, it needs to be a big shift for the educational system to survive the market shift and the market disruption. So now I'm gonna ask a question, is more fun question. Do you have any, let's say, role models in your life with disruptive, let's say, mindsets? And let's say for me, for example, my role model is Mark Cuban. I love the guy. And do you have any role model? And if you do, then why do you admire him or her?
Um, okay, I don't have a, to be honest, I don't have a role model from technology. What was my role models? Okay, it was my father that had some companies, my uncles that had some now their own companies. That was my, let's say, role models. Um, I don't know, to be honest. Okay, I know that a lot of people they want to have role models, and this is. I'm not saying that it's like okay. I love a lot of stuff that a lot of people are doing, like Elon Musk, inventions, etc., and craziness. Yeah, but also I have also some not let's just say role models, but other stuff that is involved not around technology. In music, for example, I like rock music. I believe it's a music. It's a kind of music that it elevates you. You can learn a lot from music and combine it with innovation. Also, my favorite band, for example, it's a friend also. It's a Greek band, Hess Adnani. Yeah, I mean, also it's the guys that they combine Cypriot lyrics with rembetic music or other kind of musics. So that's for me innovation there. Yeah, I mean, in politics and etc. Okay, I would say Ernesto Che Guevara because he was a revolutionary figure, and you can learn alone if you go deep and read and follow his. I used to have also, by the way, a website about him when I was 18 years old. It was one of the, I don't know if people in the audience are old enough to remember Abrino.org. Actually, I had a website that was the FBI was visiting on a daily basis. I don't know why. And yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, I mean, having different. Always, my goal was to have different influences. For example, I have read a lot about different religions. I will not say that I am a religious guy. I believe I believe that there is something out there. I believe probably in the I believe in aliens, for example. Okay, aliens might be another maybe a few solar systems down the road. Another nation like us or another form, etc.
We're gonna have U.S. government announcing some news about aliens and stuff soon.
Okay, yeah, I mean, aliens can be anything organic that is not is living in
from
this
Earth.
planet. So yeah, for example, you have. I believe I like a lot. I believe that in the next years we'll see um, great steps in the space industry, and I don't know if we would live to see space traveling, as a normal commodity like this airport. I mean, for normal people. Yeah.
So let's let's move back to the topic because I just wanted to throw one let's say fun, entertaining question there. The next section, the last section I want us to discuss is about Cyprus itself and the disruption and entrepreneurship situation that's going on. So do you think Cyprus entrepreneurship well, what do you think about Cyprus entrepreneurship and tech mentality? How often do you see disruption in Cyprus?
Okay. Let's first of all let's define a bit. It's two different elements in technology and entrepreneurship. In general, Cypriots are entrepreneurs. I mean, if you take also statistics, if you see people, they always want to have their own business, etc. But under entrepreneurship, it falls like you have two parts. You have, you might have normal business, normal entrepreneurship, and you might have also the innovative entrepreneurship. And this is where also startups are there. I mean, the startup ecosystem is very new. It's like not even 10 years old. It started in around 2013. So now we have 2021. So you are not able to compete, Israel that is 40 years old ecosystem and technology, or Silicon Valley or other big hubs. I believe slowly every year we're doing steps forward. Let's say consideration that in this ecosystem also, because a major part of this is the government, and the government is there, the last year. I believe. After, also currently you have also the deputy minister of research and innovation, Disruptive Mindset, is actually the first time that you have a political person responsible about this, and that's very important. So you have someone to say, okay, why yes is not going is always down, is not working. For example, you know where to go. You know where to go and ask for, or if it good something good is happening. For example, a lot of startups, they got funding from the research and promotion innovation. A lot of innovative, let's say not startups, innovative entrepreneurships projects, they got a lot of funding. The last 1 year. Um, yeah, I believe we are in a good track. Now we have also, but technology is something else. Technology in Cyprus is there. Also, you have like companies, like all companies, that they were doing, okay, not let's say high tech technology, because high tech technology will come from the universities, and I believe that we have universities that are doing a very good job on that. But is lacking. We're lacking like a good spin-off law that will take also that uh, all this R&D that is happening right now and make it into a product that actually will have also some value in the local economy and etc. This is what we're lacking. Again, I have seen some good initiatives happening there. I don't know. It will take time to see, maybe a lot of actionable results.
Do you think what do you think is
Um,
lacking right now in Cyprus in the ecosystem? What's urgent?
we're lacking, for example, we don't have, funds, VCs, or okay, we have only the Cyprus Business Angel Network, but we don't have, high risk funds or venture capitalists. This is what we're lacking. We're lacking also as the universities are lacking in terms of, writing, to find funds to write the patents of their, to get more patents out there, because this is very important in the technology transfer and in the spin-off. And since we're lacking a good law of spin-off. As a Cyprus, we're lacking also a lot of good tech talent. Unfortunately, not we're not lacking on tech talent. We have tech talent, but we're lacking on the quantity of this tech talent, because if you're planning to make Limassol, for example, a tech headquarter in hub or a technology hub, you need to have the people that were going to work in these tech companies. And this is a huge problem right now for a lot of companies, that they have brought, headquarters here, or they have brought some operations here. Okay, well, they will find business people to hire, very good business people actually, to hire for other things like customer service, sales, marketing, etc. But it's very difficult for them to find, high skilled or skilled tech talent that probably also have, some years of experience. And this is something that I urge also the government, and I might discuss also a lot in the next week with the deputy minister, about what we're doing now, what we're doing tomorrow, for example, to fix this problem. Maybe we need to make a visa, a tech visa, to bring more people from other countries. Because in Limassol, for example, we have a lot of Russian-speaking people or other countries that they came here and they work with a visa to these companies. It doesn't mean you have a problem that is short-term, and you have the long-term thing that you need to. The long-term, it comes with education, and through education to push people to go and become IT specialists. For example, okay, Ukraine has around, I was there 2 years ago, and they have like every year they around 130,000 people. Uh, they graduate from their university as an IT specialist. So yeah,
Big potential, yeah, to have to have a,
Yeah, that's why Ukraine now it's becoming, the tech IT, the tech
yeah,
hub of
prices
in
are
there
as well.
of the region there, and maybe want to become also one of the biggest tech hubs in Europe. Um, but they have other problems. Um,
Do you think with the size, with what we have right now, we can disrupt any European market? And if we can, then how long do you think we need in order to have the power to disrupt?
I think as an ecosystem, we need to focus on different on specific shipping, fintech, like the financial sector. We need to focus on specific, like the educational tech. Educational tech, for example, we have a Gino in Cyprus. It was one of the competitors of Lego, for example. It's a Cypriot company. They're built in, toy robots in Limassol. I mean, nobody knows that, or very few knows that. Um, uh, and they're selling like in 70 countries around the world. Um, you need to get these stories out, and you need to get them, not when I say out, when I don't say in Cyprus. You need to get them globally. You need to brand this uh, as a country. Also, it's something that you need to make a good branding as a whole country, and not all doing the branding. I mean, do the work first, and then come and brand this outside. Because right now I just learned, for example, that the Al Jazeera video, it's one of the BAFTA, is nominated one of the BAFTA awards. So we'll have more bad reputation as a country there. So I believe the future is very vibrant for entrepreneurship, and especially tech entrepreneurship
Hmm.
in the next 5, 10, 15 years for Cyprus. Mm, and a lot of things will be happening in the island. We might not like some stuff, etc. Um, but as a country, also we have a lot of social problems. A society that is good if we are focusing also in social entrepreneurship. So we can try through that to find to build some social enterprise that will find also solutions for some social problems of Cyprus, and then maybe expand this solution to other countries. And Cyprus, it's a good example, bringing different entrepreneurs from both sides. It's a bi-communal project.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what we want. I told you earlier about our pitch battle and startup competition, and we got UN on board. So we're gonna do a pitch battle that focuses on bi-communal projects, which benefits both sides of Cyprus, north and south.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Hey, if I can help with judging, let me know.
okay, I'll let you know. So my last question here is: do you have any advice for the current or new startups in Cyprus? What's your one piece of advice, knowing the situation, and also post-pandemic advice?
Yeah, I'm trying to build something that is fully digital. I believe this pandemic stuff it will tone down, but it will not leave. It will not, I believe a lot of habits of people change. So try to be, maybe even your company. For example, our plan, for the companies to build it totally remotely. Everybody will be working from home, or, you know, all our employees, future employees will be working from home. Um, uh, and Yeah, for startups, I believe the basic principle is there. Find a problem and build a solution that actually you can sell. So take a lot of feedback, find your first 50 clients, take a lot of feedback from them, how to build, a very good MVP as a startup that actually it produces sales, it produces profits. And then if you need investors, you can go also to investors. I mean, for me, I don't give this advice. I mean, don't take the advice that, it was on the old days, okay, let's go raise money, and then again raise money, and then again raise money. I believe try to do things, in a fast growth, let's say, approach, but always take feedback from your potential clients. If you are building, for example, in B2B startups, you might find one of two, three clients, and you say to them, let's solve a problem for you that, you can use also in the future and help us, build it the right way. Always when you build startups, it's good to have also an industry, either as an advisor, either as a member of the founding team, someone that has experience from the industry that you're going to go into. It's good to have also young people, etc. Don't try to be, our advice is don't try to be a lot of founders, 2, 3 max, especially if you're planning to ask for money from investors at one point. When you have a lot of founders, that becomes a bit difficult. It might become sometimes a bit difficult. Yeah, I mean, that's my experience and advice. And always put passion. I mean, what you are building. I mean, if you wake up in the morning, and okay, this might be a cliche, but if you wake up in the morning, you don't want to go to your job. I mean, whatever job is this, or especially if it's your own company, then something is wrong. So yeah, I mean, try to love what you're doing. Try to balance your life. It's not only about work, and that's very important because you will burn yourself. I burn myself at least 2 or 3 times right now, trying to.
I
I'm
think we
trying.
all, I think we
I'm
all,
trying. I'm trying to learn from it. Also,
I mean, you can blame it on
uh,
our educational system as well. We're never taught how to handle work pressure.
I don't like to blame stuff. I mean, I would blame it myself because I used to work, a lot of hours when I was younger. So as you go, I'm around 40 right now, but as you go older, it's a bit more difficult and stressful. Something that I learned from working in a Nordic company is try to do one stuff at a time and do it as you're the best. You're doing it and you're competing with the rest of the world, not only in your country. That's very important. And try to start focusing on specific stuff. Don't do a lot of stuff at the same time. I don't think, for me, I don't think multitasking is working.
Me neither. It's a bad
I
idea.
mean, if you want to, especially if you want to do global stuff, try to focus on solving something that, you'll solve it, you're creating MVP in Cyprus, and then you're going to expand in Greece, then you're going to expand in the region, and solve it very well. Yeah.
So before we close and go to Q&A, do you have any other things to share with our audience?
Not really. I love having questions. So if you're watching or if you have people that they are here, I would love to ask. I would love to answer questions. As I've told you, okay, usually I'm not doing presentations. I don't like presentations, etc.
No, me neither. I like talks. I like authentic talks. So before we go to Q&A, until you think about your questions and stuff, I'm gonna share with you the next events link. This is actually a workshop. We usually do 4 fireside chats and then we do 1 workshop. I shared the link in the chat. So basically, this workshop is about advertising, not marketing, advertising. So it's called No BS Advertising. And we're going to go back to the fundamentals of advertising, either online or offline locally. And is a workshop that can help you out to simplify advertising, because the worst thing you can do is to overcomplicate advertising. So if you're interested in knowing how to advertise properly, either for your startups, for your company, business, whatever, if you're doing it yourself, or if you just want to know the knowledge, feel free to join on our next workshop. So, well, thank you first of all, Panis, um, for the fireside chat, and the answers you gave us. It was lovely, and we got to know you better, because usually, as you said it, you're on the other side of the mic, and you're usually the one interviewing people. So we didn't get a chance to know who you are and how you feel um, about the market, about Cyprus, about yourself, and the startups.